it has to come to stop at some point in time where certainty and surety has to exist. Either the officers want to go or they don't want to go. Now consider this. Strike action or protest action is being taken on a choice. If I said we're doing it 1st of September, whether you like it or don't like it, I could very well understand if somebody doesn't like it that they withhold their labor or their protest. If I'm saying to you, I'm giving you an option form, how can you make a choice if you don't know what the offer is? You have to have the offer. An offer is made, a consideration is done, and a decision is taken. And I'm saying, because don't forget, when it was announced that we were doing the transition for the 1st of July, shortly after that protest action started, a lot of people seem not to remember. There was a go slow by alleged reported go slow by customs officers at the customs staff at the various ports of entry or wherever they operated. This has been going on for weeks. We were supposedly discussing with the union. While we were discussing with the union, okay, protest action was taking place. Even as we were discussing. And the government, I didn't come to the thing quarreling or fretting with anybody. And people were saying, but how it is that in normal industrial practice, in relations practice, if you are discussing, you don't go on strike. How are you meeting with unions and having a discussion with them and they're doing a work to rule or a go slow or whatever it is called? So I always make the point, respect is given on both sides. It's given and it's taken. Okay, we discussed, we had a meeting, we turned over the information. And unions were to get back to us. We've not heard anything. We set a date. We have to make a decision. At the end of the day, there are fundamental issues in relation to the functioning of customs that have to be addressed. And if we address it in the BRA, address it in as it is currently now, address it with the BLP government or with the BLP government, with Chris Sinckler as Minister of Finance or anybody else, those issues have to be addressed. Now, from my understanding, the workers are saying, the unions are saying, that they want to have people appointed before they move over to the Barbados Revenue Authority. My understanding is that all of those persons who are currently appointed have no problem in that regard. You transition on a 2-year contract, within which time, if you do not like over there, you are free to come back over. And you take with you all of your rights as a public officer, as a civil servant. Your pension rights, your increments, everything, gratuity, everything you take. You leave nothing. And we know that is the practice because it has happened in relation to all of the other agencies that have transitioned prior to customs into the BRA, as was the case with the Financial Services Commission, because we have been through this on several occasions. We went through it with the hospital, we went through it with the airport, we went through it with FSC, we went through it with the first iteration of BRA. This is not new. So everybody knows what the standard is. If you are temporary and you're acting in a position acting up, her position, we've indicated that you can transition at that position. Imagine that. You can transition so long as the person that you're acting for is not interested in going, because you're acting in somebody's position. So if the person wants their position, it's their position. You're appointed to it. But so long as the person is not interested, you can transition at that level. So long as you've been acting for a certain amount of time. If you're acting for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, of course, you can. But you go over into that position. If you are a temporary worker, because temporary appointed workers, they're workers, employees, they're not officers. You're not an officer until you're appointed in the public service, as far as I have been advised and I understand. If you transition into the BRA as a temporary employee from the civil service, you've been offered a position. The position is you're given a year's contract. If you perform your normal duties as you do every day, at the end of that year, you are offered an appointment. And therefore, it would seem to me that it is easier to get an appointment in the public service, in this case in the BRA, at the BRA, than it will be for you to get it staying in the general civil service. Because if you are in the general civil service, some rules apply. In order to be appointed, I am advised under section 13(1), I believe it is, section 13 of the new Public Service Act, which was passed by the last administration, you have to have been working in the public service for up to 3 years prior to December 31st, 2007. That is the position. Once you're there, you're guaranteed. If you have not been appointed up to that time, by that time, if you've not been appointed, you are guaranteed an appointment before you go to the BRA. So you're taken care of. If you come after that period, then you have to compete, depending on the position, with all of the other civil servants in the system who may be eligible to be appointed to that position. So there's no automaticity to your appointment. Even if, as the unions are arguing, but even if you have been acting in a vacant post for longer than a year, as the rules of that act suggest, that you should get that appointment, you still have to, one, the position has to be vacant. 2, you have to be qualified, because there's a qualification bar to be appointed to the position. And 3, the position has to be advertised. And 4, you have to be interviewed and compete with everybody else who has an eligibility to be appointed to that post. My understanding from the meeting is that the unions, somebody wants to get people appointed to posts. And they're arguing that government should create superannuated posts and appoint people to these positions. But even if that is the case, that is a process that takes time. I'm not sure, based on the meetings that I've participated in, that can so easily be done. But even if it can be, it is something that takes time. It's going to go over a long period of time. People are going to compete and quarrel and fret, because these are not positions that you can just isolate for one set of people as opposed to the other. In fact, it would create a situation for some of the unions where they would be giving one part of their membership an advantage and disadvantaging the other part. Now, I can't imagine why anybody would want to do that. So that is where it is. That is where it is. Now, my understanding is people say they want the letters withdrawn. But, you know, one thing about me when it comes to these matters, I'm not stuck in the mud on anything. But my question is, show me the roadmap and the time frame for getting those letters, those option letters out to the workers. Let's set some firm timelines so that we do not have to be going around the mulberry bush with this all of the time.